So the first topic will be JavaScript executor. So JavaScript executor is basically a language, a web-based design language similar to HTML and PHP. So the web application that we automate with the help of Selenium, those are also developed with JavaScript, HTML, JavaScript, PHP, integration of all. So there are some special features that we can achieve with the help of JavaScript. So that is why in Selenium, they have created a special interface, which is JavaScript executor. In order to perform some operations using JavaScript executor command. Once again. Okay. So there will be some JavaScript command that we can use in Selenium scripting. That means the integration of JavaScript command and the Selenium. And with that integration, we can achieve some operations, some features. So what are those features that we will see today? Okay. So till this part, everything is common. I'm using this website only. After that, this is the interface that is created in Selenium in order to execute some JavaScript command. That those commands are written in JavaScript language. So those commands we can run in our Selenium script also. But for that, you have to create this interface reference variable. And if you see this syntax, you are familiar with this. Same thing we have done in screenshot capturing class yesterday. I am transferring the command of driver to this JavaScript interface and typecasting this. So it is based on the same concept that we have done in the screenshot class. Once you get the reference and you got the command from this driver, once this JavaScript executor get the command, now with the help of this, you can execute some of the command of JavaScript. So how you can do that? For that, one by one, we will see the commands. So the very first command, which doesn't have any use, like we do not use this command in, and because it is not required, but still it has, there is an option. So let's understand that. You can create an alert, like an application will open and an alert will be created. This alert is not related to the application. You are create by your own, like from your script, you are creating an alert. So this command basically used to create an alert in JavaScript language. And any JavaScript command, like this is a command to create an alert. So if you want to run any JavaScript command in Selenium, for that there is a method called execute script. This method you have to call. If you write JS dot, then you will see this option execute script. So here you will see. So here you will see execute script command. This command you have to call and you have to pass the argument. That argument will be the JavaScript command. So this is one command alert, and in opening closing bracket alert, this is a message. This alert is a command that will create an alert, and this is a message that will display on the alert pop-up that will be generated. And every command will be terminated by a semicolon. And both entire thing you have to keep in double quote. This is nothing but JavaScript command which you have to remember. And it's very easy to remember. Okay, so now if I run this, so see one alert has been created, and message is displaying here alert, which has an OK button. So basically, this is a command that is used in a JavaScript to create an alert in any application, any web application. So that command you can run in your Selenium script with the help of JavaScript executor interface. Okay. So JavaScript executor interface has a method called execute script. In that method, you have to pass the uh, JavaScript command. Similarly, there are some commands like this is one command, return document.domain. It will return you the domain name of the web page. Any web application. If you want to know the domain name of that web application, that you can get it. The command is return document.domain. This command will return you, if you say this, uh, its return type, object. Whatever command you are writing, it will execute and it just return an object. So you cannot print an object. So here what I have done, first of all, I have run this command and I have converted this into string. And that I'm storing in a string variable, and then I'm printing this so that I can see the domain name. Okay. So execute script will always return an object, whatever argument you are providing. If you want to print that details, then you have to convert it into a string. So just call toString method and then store it in a string variable and print it. So this will give you the domain name. Similarly, you can get the URL. If you want to know the URL of the application, then simple return document.url. In place of domain, you have to write URL. If you want to know the title of the page, then that also you can know. Just write title here. Title also you can get title. There is a method. Yesterday we have seen this, and from here also you can get the title of the page. Okay. So commands are very simple. So let's run this again and see if these three details are printing or not. So first is the domain name jqueryui.com. This is the domain name that is printing. jquery.com. This is the domain name. Then it is printing the URL. So this is the entire URL. So this is printing over here with HTTPS. And next is the title, droppable jQuery UI. So this title is printing over. So these are some special features that you cannot achieve with Selenium. For that, you have to use JavaScript executor only. And there are some other features also. Scroll down. If you want to scroll down, like this page, this is open. Now you want to scroll down. This also you can automate with JavaScript executor. For that, there is a command called window.scrollby. This is horizontal axis. This is vertical axis. If you want to scroll down vertically, then you can also do, or there is no horizontal slider here, so that you cannot do. If there is any horizontal value, sorry, horizontal axis, at which axis you cannot scroll. Mouse operation. In actions, you can perform double click, right click, mouse hover, sorry, move over. Like it, you will the element will become in focus and drag and drop. Horizontal sliding or vertical sliding you cannot do with actions class. For that, you have to use JavaScript executor. This is vertical axis. If you have to scroll vertically, so provide the value in the form of pixels. It takes the value in the form of pixels. If there is a horizontal slider, so for that you have to provide value here in the x-axis, and this one you have to keep 0, the vertical one. So in our application we have vertical axis, so I have given 500 pixel value. So it will scroll till 500 pixel. I don't know till where, but it will do. So let's run this and see if it is scrolling down or not. So if you notice, it has been scrolled up, see, till 500 pixels. So this is also possible in JavaScript executor. One more thing is scroll into view. That means you want to scroll till an element is visible. Let's suppose this is a page which is open, and in my program, I have located a slider. Is there any slider? Yes. If the page is open, so you cannot see the slider option. But here, you have, in order to see this, you have to scroll down. So what you can do with the help of JavaScript executor, first of all, you identify the element which you want to make it, which you want to make it visible. Like from here, it will be scrolled down till this element becomes visible. So first of all, locate that element and store it in a web element. Then provide this command argument 0 dot scroll into view. It will be true. If you make it true, then only it will scroll. If you make it false, then it will not scroll. And in the second argument, you have to provide that element. That means it will scroll into view. It will scroll down till this element becomes in view. That means this element becomes visible. So here you have to provide two arguments. First is the command that will scroll down, and this is the target element till this point. The scrolling part will happen once it is visible. Okay. So let's see if it is happening or not. Okay, so if you notice, it has been scrolled down, and the starting element is slider. That means from slider now you can see everything. So whatever the element you will give from that place or from that point, you will see the web page. So these are some special features that you can perform with the help of JavaScript executor. Command that you cannot do just with Selenium. Okay. So with this JavaScript executor, anyone has to
Exactly.
ask anything?
What is the significance of that alert, creating alert in Selenium?
There is no significance. Means, as I said, there is no use. But I have seen this command. I got means it came into my notice, so I just explained. Like you can create an alert also, but there is no use.
Yeah. Okay. And also, mainly this JavaScript executor will be used sometimes whenever this Selenium commands may not be used physically. For example, whenever we send an element using send keys, right? That may not work in the publication. If we don't know
Yes.
the cause, so that time we can use this JavaScript executor for send keys or clicking on button. All those
Mm-hmm.
things also we can use this JavaScript executor. So this is one of
Yes.
the challenge we can mention in the interview also. Sometimes in our application send keys is not working. So that
Mm-hmm.
time we come up with JavaScript executor and we can able to achieve this functionality, send keys or clicking on a button. Those functionalities sometimes it may not work with usual commands. Yeah.
Yes, means sometimes if you're not able to click or you are not able to type, then JavaScript executor command you can use to type or to click on the element. There are some commands. I need to see that where it is.
Okay.
Uh, JavaScript. Let me see if I can get it.
Sure. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, one more command is to enter any date value in the calendar. Okay, so here we can select a date also with the help of JavaScript. This is what I was talking about yesterday. Click and in case command, I don't know where it is. Somewhere I have kept it, the file. I will check and I will provide the command also. Yes, there is a frame. Let me check. Yes, there is a frame. So just maximizing it. I will switch to the frame. Now these all details will be printed and it will enter this date value in that field. Okay. If you try to locate this, you will see there is an ID. So this ID I have used here. There is a command document.get element by ID from. Okay. What is from? From is the I guess the ID. Okay, so here the ID is date picker. So this ID you have to change. Document dot get element by ID, the ID value, then dot value. Which date value you want to enter, just provide it. Whatever date you will enter, same date will be entered over here. That will be selected automatically. Okay, so let me run this and see if it is happening or not.
And your screen got freezed.
My screen is raised for everyone.
No.
Can you see Eclipse running?
Yes.
Okay, then maybe you have to rejoin.
Okay.
Okay, I need to change the URL. I haven't changed.
Switch to iframe also you have wrote, no?
Sorry, come again.
Switching to iframe.
Ah, this is I've done. Driver dot switch to dot.
Okay.
So see the date has been selected. Okay, so directly you can enter the date and what Pawan was asking yesterday, like this operation. Whatever the date you will see, it will. You can see all this navigation and then it will select a date. So this part, uh, very long back, I have written the code for that. Means yesterday I was going through all the files, so I found a code for that. So already a code is written. So actually it's very lengthy. So for that I will record a session and I will share with all of you. Like how I have written the code, with what concept, everything, and I will provide the code also. That code will be very generic. Like you can use the code for any application. Wherever you see this kind of calendar, anywhere it can be used. Only some values you have to change. That is the XPath value for that application. That's it. And after that, the code is means it's very generic. You can use it simply, even in your project framework also. So that I will Monday or Tuesday I will provide you the recording. Okay, this is the code. Yeah. So this is the code that I have written very long back. I was not means yesterday I didn't get this. It was not in my mind. So when I was going through tomorrow yesterday, then I found this one. So this entire code is written by me only, and it can select any date value. Like I have used the GoIB book application in order to select the date. So same code can be used some XPath value like this one, and this one you have to change. Wherever the XPath I have used, only that you have to change, and everything will be same. So how I have written and how everything has been incorporated, everything I will explain in the recording. Here if I try, then it will take more than 1 hour, so that I do not want to waste the class time. And also it was not the part of the course, but still you have asked, so I will provide this in the recording session. Okay, so let's move on to the next topic. That is the weight. There are three types of weights in Selenium. But before that, let's understand why we should use weight. What is the situation or where we should use the weighting concept. So there is a scenario whenever we open a website in browser, the time taken by the browser to load the web pages and the web elements of the website may vary based on various conditions. The various conditions can be your internet speed, or there are lots of features in the application. That is why it is taking long time to load each and every features and element, and so on. There can be multiple reasons. All the entire page takes some time to completely load. If the website is simple, the browser will load the page in a second. If the web page has some high quality images or video, then the browser may take suppose 10 to 20 seconds to load the page. It also depends on the internet connection speed. So there can be various factors. Suppose you have opened a website in the browser and the browser takes 10 to 20 seconds to load some of the web elements, which we want to interact with in our Selenium script. Like when you open any application and immediately if you are trying in the next line, you are trying to find an element and you want to click on that. So Selenium will not wait. This is a concept like Selenium will not wait entire page to load and then it will try to find the element and then it will click. Once the URL is open, then immediately, uh, one second. Okay, so yeah, so when the page is opened, immediately the driver will try to look for the element, and if it is not found, then it will be, no such element exception will be thrown because the page is loading, is still loading. But Selenium doesn't know, driver doesn't know like the page is loading, right? So you have to inform or you have to introduce some waiting condition till the page loads or a certain amount of time you want your driver should wait before starting the further execution. Okay. If we run our script, then driver will try to identify the web element on the page. Since the driver is taking time to load to those web elements, the driver will throw element not visible exception. In Selenium, the browser is controlled by driver. This is we already know. The latest version of Selenium WebDriver allows the browser to load the web page completely, and then the driver start identifying the web element. This is what happens in the latest version of Selenium WebDriver. So we must be aware of some techniques to handle such scenarios in our script. So in order to handle this scenario, we have three different weights are available. Each has its own use, so that we have to understand. So the first one is the implicit wait. Implicit wait tells the web browser to let the web elements load and wait for a specified amount of time before throwing the exception. If the web element doesn't load within the specified time, then the browser will throw element not visible exception. What is the default time? Is 0 second. As I said, immediately driver, once the URL is opened, immediately driver will try to find the element because the default time is 0 second. But there is a scenario where you can provide some specified amount of time. Till that point, driver will wait. And if within that time frame, still the element is not available and the browser is still loading, then element not visible exception will be thrown. Okay. And this is the important point. It is not specific to a particular web element. Like when you write the command of implicit wait, so it is not only for a particular web element, but it will be applicable for all the web elements. For example, if you open this application, you want to click on here, 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 and here, and then you want to enter a date. So for all the elements 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, that specified amount of time that you have mentioned through the command will be applicable for all the elements. Like for all the elements, it will wait for that specified amount of time. So before that, let me write the implicit wait condition, then you will understand what I'm trying to say. Thread dot sleep we can use, but there is a difference. I will come to that. Thread dot sleep is not advisable to use. Let's suppose this is a page which you are opening and you are maximizing it. After that, if you write thread dot sleep 5 seconds of time, then what will happen? Let's suppose you have written 20 seconds. So 20 seconds the driver will wait. After 20 seconds only, the next operation will be performed. But what if within 5 seconds only your web page is loaded and the element is visible? So what about those 15 seconds? So unnecessary your driver is waiting for those 15 seconds. So that is a wasting of time. But in implicit wait, this is not happen. If you mention 20 seconds also, so it tries to look for the element within that 20 seconds. If it is available in 5 seconds, so immediately driver will perform the operations and rest 15 seconds will be ignored. If it is available in 10 seconds, so after 10 seconds, driver will perform the operation on the element. Rest of the 10 seconds will be ignored. That will not be taken into consideration. So driver will not wait unnecessary for the next 10 seconds. This is what happens in implicit wait or any wait, the three waits that I mentioned. But this is a disadvantage of thread.sleep. If you mention 20 seconds, then it will wait for 20 seconds. After 20 seconds only anything will be happening. So that is a wastage of time. And in order to improve that, there is a special waiting condition in Selenium, and we should use only that one, not the thread.sleep. Okay, so how we can write the command for implicit wait. So it will start with driver dot manage dot timeouts dot implicit wait, and here you have to provide time unit dot. Now you have to specify the time unit, like till what, if in minute or hours or second. See, there are so many options. Till how many time you have to wait? You want to introduce the wait. It will be in a day format, or it will be in an hour format, or in wait or seconds. So we basically use seconds. We do not want to wait till hours, right? So here we select time unit as second, and here you have to specify the time. This implicitly wait, why it is giving error? Okay, so I have written, we have to reverse this. So first you have to specify the time, then you have to specify the time unit. Yes, so Anjun, you can ask your question.
Sir, actually, I have a general question. When we are writing like this, driver dot manage dot times out. So drive manage is the method of driver. Then when I wanted to know about this because yesterday when I was trying, I was not understanding this. Like for example, implicit wait is exactly of whose command it is. It is of driver or it is of manage. Whether how to find that out.
If you remember, this one I have explained. This is on the same concept. Here also manage window maximize. One by one we are calling a method. If you remember how I have explained this one. So on the basis of same thing, it has been created. So each of the method is basically returning an interface. Let's check manage. So when you call this manage, so it returns WebDriver options. Option is an interface.
Yes.
Okay. If you go into these options, so you will see the this window. We have called timeouts. So what is basically happening when you are calling this manage? So it is returning you an interface that is options. And in this option interface, there is a command called window that I have called here.
Window.
And there is a timeout also, but in our case, we have called timeout. Let me go back. Yes, timeouts. So when you call timeouts, so what is happening? It is returning you an interface called timeouts.
Okay.
And in the timeouts
So by
interface,
practicing only, I will understand of who's the of which
mm,
interface the method is.
mhm. It's this one you have to remember, like which, if you see here, one second. Timeouts, it returns this interface. If you go into this interface, timeouts, then it should have this method. So let me see. Get implicitly wait, right? See. So
Yes.
in that interface, there is a method. So whenever we are calling this one, so it is returning an interface, and in that interface there is a method. So whenever we are calling timeouts, so it returns a timeouts interface, and in that interface there is a method called implicitly wait. So that we are calling. So whenever we are calling method, it is returning you an interface. Manage is returning options interface. In the options interface, there is a method called timeouts. So from there we are calling timeouts. Manage is just a method. So from manage, in the manage, timeout is not implemented. Timeout is an interface. Sorry, manage, when you are calling method, you see there is an options interface which is returning. In this option interface, timeout method is created. So from the option interface, you are calling timeout. Similarly, in the timeout interface, when you are calling this method, it has an interface called timeouts. And in the timeouts interface, this method is available. So from there, you are calling this.
So then where is the implementation written? Can we see that code?
No, no, implementation you cannot see. This is hidden. If you see the implementation, then you can create your own automation. Means like Selenium, you can create one more
That one.
automation
Okay, okay.
library. So that will be a competition for the Selenium. So Selenium cannot
Mm,
allow you to see their implementation.
Generally,
understood.
implementation will be written in the class, but we don't know which
Yes.
class is that.
Yeah, only method, class, all the and details, what it is doing, you can see. But how it has been implemented, those you cannot see. No one can see. Okay, so this is how it has been created. So this is the implicit wait. You are introducing a 20 seconds of time. After that, if you try to locate any element, which one we are using? Droppable. Okay, so here, whatever the elements you locate, draggable, droppable, resizable, selectable, sortable. Let's suppose this five elements you have located and all the five elements you want to click. This five lines of code you have written here one by one. So this 20 second of time that you have written here will be applicable to on those five elements that you have written here one by one. So for every element, it will wait for 20 seconds. If it is available in 1 second, so 19 seconds will be ignored. If it is available immediately, then 20 seconds will be ignored. If it is not available, then it will wait till 20 seconds. After 20 seconds, it will throw exception, not element not visible. So this is the meaning of implicit wait. It is applicable for all the web elements that you are locating in your script. But what if I want to only implement the waiting condition on a specific web element, not the entire web element? In this condition, what I will do? I do not want the wait condition should be applicable for all the elements that I am identifying in my script. It should be applicable on a specific web element whenever it is required. So for that, there is a another wait, that is explicit wait. In a long script, we require to introduce wait logic for some major scenarios only and not on in a long script we require to introduce wait logic for some major scenarios only and not every command in the script, like not on every element on the script. So Selenium WebDriver introduces explicit wait to handle such scenario. Explicit wait tells the WebDriver to wait for a certain condition to be met or till the maximum specified time in the script before throwing the exception. So only difference between implicit wait and explicit wait is implicit wait is applicable for all the elements and implicit wait is applicable for all the elements and explicit wait is applicable only on a specific element. It can be applied only for a specified web element in the script. So for that, there is a class called WebDriver wait and expected conditions to use explicit wait in the script. These two classes we have to use. First, we need to create an object of WebDriver wait. So this is what we have to do in for explicit wait. You have to create an object of WebDriver wait and you have to import this. This is available in support.ui package. In when you create, then you have to provide the driver reference and the specified amount of time you have to mention it. By default, it takes the time as second. Here we had to, in the implicit wait, we had to specify the time unit, but here by default, it takes the time as second. This is the first line you have to do. Here the wait is the object of the WebDriver wait class, and it accepts two parameters, WebDriver instances and the maximum wait time for the execution to lay off. Okay, and for this we have to import this package. Second, we need to use expected condition class in the script to introduce this expected condition for which WebDriver wait will wait for a stipulated amount of time to be met. As I said, like this will be applicable on a specific element. So how you will specify that condition? So in order to specify that condition, you have to use this class expected conditions. So how you can use that? You have to specify, you have to find that element. Let's suppose you want to specify uh, for this element draggable. Let's first locate this. The page will load and then you will click on this element, and you want to introduce an explicit weight for this. This is the export. After that, you will write uh, expected conditions dot.
No, wait dot explicit conditions.
Yes, right. This one you have to call wait dot. No, no. This is a class. One second. Let me check the code. Wait dot until. Sorry. There is a method called until. This one you have to call with the wait object, and here you have to specify expected. You have to create the class expected conditions dot, and this class has so many inbuilt methods. What are those methods? These are the methods. So these are some different conditions that you can specify with the help of expected conditions. So one of the condition that you can specify is expected condition dot element visibility, sorry, dot visibility of element located.
This visibility, I think, if you wrote invisibility.
Okay. Visibility of element located. That means this wait dot until, it will wait until this element is located. So you have to write this in a conditional format. So in order to introduce the condition, there is a class called expected conditions. In that there are so many different conditions are created in the form of methods that you have to call. And in that method, you have to specify the element by dot xpath and just provide the xpath of the element. You can store this in an web element variable. Okay. So what will happen? You want to introduce a 10-second of explicit wait on which element? On this element. So what is the condition? It will wait until this element is visible. Once this is visible, then this element will be stored in this variable, web element variable. And after that, you can perform any operation. Element dot click. Let's suppose you want to click, then you can perform. But in this condition will wait for 10 seconds. If in this 10 second, this is not available, then in this line only, it will throw exception. Element is not visible. So next line will not be performed. If this condition passed, then only the element will be stored here, and then after that you can perform any operation. So now you see this explicit wait is applicable only for this element, not for the entire element that you are. If you want to locate, if you here you want to locate, so that will not be applicable, that will not come under this one. Only this element will come under the explicit wait. Okay, so similarly there are lots of conditions. Alert is present. Like if you want your driver should wait until the alert is present. So for that, we just call this method. And there are so many different conditions. Element to be clickable. If you want to check whether the element is clickable or not. If you want to check whether the element is to be selected or not. So you just need to call this method, and here you have to specify the export. frame to be available and switch to it. If you want to check whether there is a frame is available, and then if you want to switch to it, then you also you can use it. Invisibility of element, presence of element, this all we do not use mostly. This one we use alert is present, frame to be selectable, clickable, frame to be available, and title contains, visibility of element located, all this we use mostly. And for each of the mostly used command, I have already created the code. So this I am sharing with you. If you want to know in details like how we should implement this condition and how we should provide the extras, everything I have mentioned in the simple sample code. So this will help you to understand how to implement all these different conditions. Okay. So the most important conditions for that I have provided the sample code that you can check it from there. And it's very simple. If you see, then you will simply understand.
Yeah, Sunny, one question.
Hmm.
So,
Yes.
like exceptions also it will be thrown with respect to these methods, is it? In case if driver is not able to find the element,
Yes.
so we have different exceptions for different methods.
Yes. Correct. That you
Not
can
unique.
also. Yeah. Means for every actions there is a different exceptions that you can see in my blog only. If you let me open this, I have already handled this part. Handle different exceptions in Selenium. Here I have mentioned all the different exceptions that you can come across while dealing uh, in Selenium, and everything I have covered in the form of code, so that you can go through with the
So
help of
these exceptions are related to that explicit wait only, right?
explicit ways also, and apart from that also whatever the exception you can get, like all the exceptions that you can expect in Selenium, everything I have covered in this chapter.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
all the details you will see here. This also I'm sharing with all of you.
And yeah, one more question basically.
Uh,
So when there is an implicit weight defined and even explicit weight defined,
hmm.
so both will be considered for an element. So first it will be considered the time related to implicit weight, and if could not able to find, then it will come to explicitly weight.
Right.
So basically,
So basically means if both are defined, then first definitely implicit weight will be applicable. And if you have specified the explicit weight for a particular condition, then for that explicit weight will also be applicable.
okay, but yeah, some no, I don't know properly. Some people mentioned that when explicit weight is mentioned, implicit weight will not be applicable. Yeah. Thanks for the clarifying it. This was
But
a bit
how we
confusion.
can, no, that is fine, but how we can verify whether it is waiting for implicit weight or explicit weight?
Yeah,
We can check that.
we can try.
Let's suppose here if I mention 20 seconds, so for which
20
20
seconds.
second it is waiting. Means this cannot, no one can prove this. If somewhere it is written or Selenium is saying this, means on Selenium website, if it is mentioned, then yes, this is true.
Was it
Then
okay?
we can say that this is true. That we have to investigate. But as of my
Because
understanding,
yeah,
first implicit weight is applicable, then explicit weight will be considered.
because this is one of the interview question they were asking me.
Okay.
That time he could not able to answer.
Okay. So Anshul is saying which one is better. Means you cannot select anyone. It depends on the situation. If you want to implement weighting condition for every element, then you have to go with implicit weight. But if you want Weight should be applicable on a specific condition, then you have to go with explicit weight. But in framework, we mostly, I have seen both are being used, but generally we use explicit weight. Like we do not require a weighting condition for each and every element. So that is why we mostly go with the explicit weight.
Yeah, I think one thing we can able to do, I think we can write for clicking. We can see how much seconds Selenium is waiting. Is considering 10 plus 10, 20 seconds, or only 10 seconds. It's considering like that. We can use.
But actually, this page is loading very immediately. It is loading. It is not taking 20 second or 10 second of time. Means in 2 or 3 seconds it will be available. So that also you cannot verify. So you need a website that takes more amount of time to load.
Okay, you mean to say as per your understanding, first it will check the implicitly weight. If it
Uh,
could not able to find, then it will come to explicitly weight. Is it?
this is right now my understanding, but if you have asked this question, then I have to also investigate if my understanding is correct or not. So I will see this, I will check, try to find on the official website of Selenium. If something is mentioned, then I will let all of you know.
Yeah, please. Okay.
Okay. So this is done. Now the fluent weight. Last one is the fluent weight. And this is very, I don't know why it is created. I don't find this one is useful. Unnecessary, it has been created. We do not even use it. But we have to understand.
Yeah,
There is only
this is also one.
difference. Yeah,
Yes, this is also one of the interview question. When explicitly weight is already there, why you want fluent weight? What is the difference between explicit weight and fluent
mm,
weight? That is a question they were asking recently.
that is why I'm just trying to explain the difference. But on the syntax basis, it is very complex. And see, that is why a sample usage is also provided here. This same thing you have to copy and paste and you have to use it. And see, the syntax is quite complex. So the only difference between the fluent wait is used to tell the WebDriver to wait for a certain condition, as well as the frequency with which we want to check the condition before throwing an element not visible exception. So there is only a new thing, that is frequency. It is almost similar to explicit wait only, but there is a concept of frequency. What is frequency? So setting up a repeat cycle with the time frame to verify or check the condition at a regular interval of time. Okay, let's understand this with a scenario. When an element is loaded at a different interval of time, the element might load within 10 seconds, 20 seconds, or even more than that. If we declare an explicit wait of 20 seconds, it can load within 20 seconds or after 20 seconds also. Both scenario can be possible. It will wait till the specified amount of time before throwing the exception. In such scenario, the fluent wait is ideal wait to use. Here, what I'm trying to say is, let's suppose there is a 20 seconds of time and you have introduced a frequency of 5 seconds. The maximum time unit is timeline is 20 seconds. And within that, you have introduced a frequency of 5 seconds. So what will happen? That your 20 seconds of time will be divided into four parts, four frequency, 5, 5, 5, 5. So in first frequency, in first 5 seconds, the first frequency will try to find the element. If it is available, then those three frequency will be removed or will be ignored. If in the first frequency, if it is not available, then second frequency will come and another four till that 5 seconds of duration. it will try to find the element. If it is available, then rest 222 different frequencies will be ignored, and so on it will go on. So basically here 20 seconds of time is divided into multiple frequencies, and every frequency is trying to find the element. This is the only thing introduced in the fluent wait, and I sincerely don't know why it is required. I can wait from 1 second to 20 second also. That also doing the same thing. If it is available in 9 second, then 11 second is getting ignored by the explicit wait. So why there is a need of frequency? And trust me, no one is using fluent wait. In the
Can
same
we
way that I, yeah,
so can we set the frequency, or in Selenium by default it is selecting the
uh,
frequency?
you, you have to select the frequency. I will explain the code, then you will understand. You have to select the frequency.
Okay.
So how to
Okay.
explain in an interview? So in the same way you have to explain. Let's suppose there is a maximum timeline is 20 seconds, and if we are introducing a polling frequency, this is known as polling frequency, or simply frequency you can say. If we introduce or set up a frequency of 5 seconds, so that 20 seconds of time will be divided into four frequency, and in every frequency, in every cycle, that element driver will try to find the element. If it is available, then the rest of the frequency or the cycle will be removed or will be ignored. Or if it is not available in the first cycle, then second cycle will start for that specified 5 second of time. And in that 5 second of time, driver will try to find the element. If it is available, then that is fine. Not, then next frequency will go on. In this way, it will last till fourth frequency. And if in the fourth frequency also element is not available, then it will throw exception, which is known as element not visible exception. So this is how you have to explain the theoretical concept of fluent wait. And sincerely, I don't know why it has been created.
No, I think this polling every means basically it won't wait till 5 seconds. Maybe fifth second it will check whether element is able to found or not. So like, I thought in that. Sorry for
No,
that.
it divides into frequency. One cycle duration is 5 seconds. In 5 seconds, it will try to find. And then
It will
if
wait
it
five
is not,
seconds, right?
yeah.
It will. Yeah.
So in this way, it is working. Okay. And now you see the code. If you see, each fluent wait instances define the maximum amount of time to wait for a condition, as well as the frequency with which to check the condition. Furthermore, the user may configure the wait to ignore a specific type of exceptions while waiting, such as no such element exception when searching for an element on the page. So on a very high level, it has been said, if you see an implementation of wait interface that may have its timeout and polling interval configured on the fly. So on a very high level, it has been said, but what it is meaning that I've explained. Let's say waiting 30 seconds, this is the maximum time unit, and for its presence only every 5 seconds.
If it could find within 3 seconds of first frequency, it will ignore remaining 2 seconds.
Yes, then rest of the time will be ignored. And also you can ignore any exception. If you know like your code is going to throw an exception, that also you can ignore with ignoring no such element exception. If you know like within that time frame, if it is not visible, then it will be going to throw this exception. So that exception also you can ignore by mentioning the exception here.
No, but why we want to ignore
Right,
basically?
right. Same question mine also. Why? My question is why to use fluent wait? There is no use to use fluent wait. But again, there is a topic and there is a question. Interviewer also doesn't know more about this. They just want to hear the polling frequency and your concept. If you are able to explain that, then they are happy. Furthermore, they will not ask you any question. Like if it is not visible, then definitely it should throw exception. Why we will ignore that? I don't know on which concept it has been created. Okay, so this is a code. This same code you have to copy, paste, and use. You cannot modify this because this is a generic code that is available. So you have to create a weight in the form of list. If you remember the list syntax, in the same concept you have to create the object. So for fluent weight, there is a weight class. You have to specify the type. Then you have to create an object, new fluent weight. Here you have to specify this one, and lastly you have to provide the driver reference, the driver object that you are creating in your code. And then with timeout, this is the maximum time amount that you have to mention. And then dot polling frequency 5, and then this 5 will be divided by 20. If you mention 4, then 5 frequency will be created. If you provide 5, then 4 frequency will be created. And dot ignoring, if you want to ignore any exception, you can specify that exception, or simply you can specify exception. It will ignore all the exceptions. So this is the first set of code that you have to copy and paste. So if you see here, this thing, and one application I'm opening, maximizing this, and then same thing I have copied. Just copy and paste it. After that, next set of code you have to copy and paste. You have to use it. Here you have to do some modification. So first of all, let's understand this. Now it is see if it is almost similar to explicit wait. Here you are using wait dot until you are calling, but there is no expected conditions. This is a generic syntax that you have to just copy paste and use it. You have to create an object of function that accepts two parameter, WebDriver and web element. This is a generic syntax that you have to mention. Under this, you have the apply method, that is again a generic method that you have to use. It accepts this driver reference that you are using here, and a web element. Why this web element is required? Here you will try to find the element for which you want to introduce the influent web. Find element by dot id. You have to find this because on this element you want to specify fluent weight. After finding that, you have to return that element. This is a method. It has a return type web element. Here you are finding the element and you are returning the element. If this element is available in this time frame, then it will return the element. If it is not available, then it will not return the element. It will throw the exception. So this will be returned only by this apply method when it is available in this time frame. If it is available, then this will be returned, and that you are capturing here. If it is available and if it is returned, then next you can perform any operation on that element. So why this web driver is required? To find the element. And why this web element is required? To return the element if it is available, so that you can perform any operation on that further. So this is the explanation of this code, and this is generic code. See where it is available. This is a very generic code that is available, and in the same way you have to use it. So what you have to change? Everything will be same. Only this time you have to change, and this element that you are trying to find, this is only you have to change. After that, everything will be same. In the same way, you have to copy paste and use. Only this XPath and this time. Rest of the thing will be same.
No, sorry, this is for explicitly weight or fluent weight
Fluent
was
way.
you were talking.
Fluent way. Okay. And we
No,
do
but
not use
you already wrote that lines of code. No, why we need to write function?
this one.
Yeah, the above
This is
lines of code.
that is why I said this is a generic code. See here. This is a generic code to implement the fluent way, so that you have to use in that in the same way. Means let's suppose what I'm trying to say, fluent weight coding is available, the code is very generic, and if you have to copy the code and you have to use in the same way, only some modification you have to do. That modification is the time and the element. Only these two parts you have to modify based on your application on and on which element you want to introduce the fluent weight. Apart from that, this entire code will be same. And that is why if you see, it is available also here.
Okay. Okay.
You just need to copy it, you have to use it. And what are the changes you have to do is that this time frame and the element. Apart from that, this is generic code. You cannot do any modification in that.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So I think I have given you the.
I think in explicitly wait we have other methods also, no, like
Mhm.
minutes
Explicit
and
way we
minutes and
can modify like in this way. This facility is not available in Fluent.
okay. No, what I'm saying is implicitly wait we have like minutes and hour also that we will be using, or it's not required
No,
to use those things
like
anyway.
no, minutes and hours we do not use. Like we do not want to wait till hours an element. And
Yeah,
any
but
web page
they are,
can load. Yeah, go ahead.
no, but they have defined in the Selenium. So I just want to confirm. So will they use minutes at least in the
No, no,
real
no.
time? Okay.
Because in real time, any browser, any web page can load in a seconds. So there is no need to use minute or hours. But again, there are so
Oh,
many facilities. So we are not required. Why we need to wait minutes, still minutes, if anything is getting loaded in a second?
correct. Okay. No. Sometimes if there is a more volume of data, so
Huh.
that like for example thousands of volume data, like it will take some time, at least 1 minute example. So
In
only
that
that.
scenario, you can use that. In that
Okay.
scenario, you can use that. But generally, means very rarely it happens where any page takes that amount of time to load. Okay, so this is done. Next is the auto IT. Auto IT we use for a generic scenario. Like there is a scenario for which only we use auto IT. But before, let's understand how we will use this. You have to download this. Auto IT is basically used to automate web-based desktop-based application. Okay, you have to open this website, and from there you have to. If you scroll down a little bit, this is the first thing that you have to download in the software version. Download auto IT. You have to click on this, then an exe file will be downloaded that you have to install. And it is very simple. Just click on next, 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 and it will be installed. After that, if you search here, if you search here auto IT, after installing, then you will see this one, auto IT window info 86. And the same thing I have created a shortcut here in my taskbar. After this, you have to install one more thing, that is this one, auto IT script editor, download editor. Editor name is SciTE. this also you have to download, and it looks like this one. These two things is required. This is required to write the script, and this is required to locate the element on the desktop. Any desktop application if you open, then also you have to locate the element over there. So in order to locate that, this is required, and in order to write this script, this is required. This is the AutoIT. This is used to locate the element. If you download this one, so this one will be downloaded. And for writing, let me open. Let's this one open. So it will look like this, the editor one. And installation is very easy. Just click next, and you have to do it. That's it. Okay, so once you will open this, it will be blank. Now, what is this scenario I'm going to automate here is this is your application where you can send an email. You can type the message body. After that, if you want, you can attach any file, and then you can send the email. So opening this URL and typing any message is fine. This part you can do with the help of Selenium. Just locate this box and enter any text message with the help of send keys. And clicking on this button can also be automated with the help of Selenium.
Is this desktop application?
No, this is as of now this is window application, sorry, web-based application. But once you click on this file, then what will happen next? That is something different.
Okay.
So let me locate this. For this add file text is fine. Okay, so this is the export for this one. So after opening the URL and maximizing it, I will click on that button. Driver dot find element by dot export, and I will click. After clicking, what will happen? If I click on this, so now see a desktop pop-up has opened. Now this is not a part of web application. And since this is a desktop pop-up, this you cannot automate with the help of Selenium. So how you will select a file from your local drive and that will be attached to the email, and then you can send it. So now this part you have to handle with the help of AutoIT. So how you will do that? For that, you have to write some script, some line of code. In Selenium, any we use the term as web element. So similarly in AutoIT, there is a term called control. Whatever you see here, the file name text box, an open button, a cancel button, all are known as control in AutoIT. So in order to, here you have to specify any file location. That file will be selected. If you click on open, then that file will be selected and it will be attached there. But for that, you have to specify the file location. In order to enter the file location here, first of all, you have to bring this one in focus. So how you will find this? So as I said, there is a AutoIT. There is a finder tool. This one you have to select and you have to drag to this element. Once you drag and leave it here, the details of this text box you will see here. There is a title, there is a class, there is a basic control info. This is the details that we know, that we want to know, the title and its basic control information, class and instance. With the help of this, we will locate this one, this control, and then we will enter the file location here. Okay. So in order to enter anything here, you have to, first of all, you have to bring in focus that particular control. So for that, there is a command called control focus. If you write here control focus, and it accepts three parameters. The first parameter is title. So the title I have written here. Next parameter is not required. So leave it as a blank. No need to specify anything. In the third parameter, what you have to specify? It's basic information. Class and instance. These two combination you have to specify. This is the information of the control. So these two you have to specify in the code. So edit one. Both I have written together. So this command will try to find any control that has a title open and that has an information this one. So if it is found, then that control will be in focus. This one. After that, once it is focus, it comes into focus, you have to enter a text value. For that, there is a command called control set text. If you write here control set, you will see this command control set text. It also accepts some parameter. See, first it needs title, then it needs text, then control ID, then new text. These are the four parameters it needs. So what is the title? It will be open. Second parameter is needs a text that is not required, so we will leave it as a blank. Next, it needs control ID. So this is the control ID. These details we have to specify here. And now it needs next new text. New text means in the fourth one here, you have to specify the file location which you want to enter. That file should be selected. That file location you have to enter here. So this it accepts four parameters. All those four parameters you have to give. So first three parameter is same because we want to enter the value here only. Then in the fourth parameter, you have to specify the file location. So one file is there in my drive. So this location I have given. This is the file. I want to select this file. So that location I am providing here. Okay. So title control ID we have given, and in that control ID, this path will be mentioned. Once this is mentioned, I will click on open button. So open button also we have to identify first. So for open, there is a title called open, and the control ID is button 1. So these details we have to specify. For that, there is a command called, if here we have to click. So for clicking, there is a command called control click. This one we have to use. And again, the parameter we have to specify in the same way. This is the title and this is the control ID. And on this, it will perform click operation. So once you specify any file location, and if you click on OK, so that file will be attached. Once you reach here, now you can click on the send button with the help of Selenium command, because now it has a web page that you can handle with Selenium. So this part you have to automate. This part we have to automate with the help of AutoIT. Uploading any file while sending an email. So wherever there is a need to upload a file, you can use AutoIT, because that becomes a desktop application that you cannot automate with the help of Selenium. So we have already written the script for automating this part. We have to save this. This script we have to save. How you will save? Just go on file and save as. And its type will be as AutoIT. This you no need to change this one. Only change the file name and click on save. Once this is done, then you will see anywhere wherever you have saved the file. So that will be created in this way. After writing the script, you have to save the file in the AutoIT format. This file you have to just right click on this. You have to compile. Two options you will get based on your system configuration. You can select any of the option. So just click on compile script. It will compile this script and it will generate an exe file. See, this is an exe file that has been created. This file you can run. Let's suppose if I open this, and now after that, if I double click on this, so see automatically it has executed the command. That means the script that we have written is correctly. It is working fine. Let me delete this again, and you have to just open this one and then go back and just double click on this exe file and see that has been executed. So that desktop part is automatically happening. So in order to run the AutoIT script, you have to generate an exe file, and with that exe file, you can run the script. Okay. But how we will run that in our Selenium script? This one we are doing manually. How we can do this from our automation script? First of all, get the location of the file, then go back to your Selenium script. There is a Java command to run any exe application. In Java, there is a class called runtime. It has a method called get runtime and one more method .exe. Exec, it executes. If you see, it executes the specified string command in the separate process. This is a convenience method, and invocation of the form exe behaves in exactly the same way. This is the details it is written. So basically what it does, it executes the command that you are specifying here. java.line.runtime.exe. So now again you will ask, when I'm calling this method, then what is happening? So it is returning an interface called runtime. And in this runtime interface, there is a method called exe. From there, we are calling exe. Here you just need to specify the executable file that you have created. And this command will run that file automatically. So here what you have done, you have integrated the AutoIT script in your Selenium script. Any doubt?
No.
Let's run this and see if it is working on me. So AutoIT is a separate thing. But if you want to integrate that, for that you have to generate an exe file by compiling. And that location you have to
Sir,
specify. Yes, go ahead.
can you please tell once again what is the use of auto IT, why it is used?
AutoIT is used to automate desktop-based applications. And here we are using a part of the desktop we are automating for uploading any file. Apart from that, also you can do so many things, but here it is not required. Here we are learning AutoIT in a purpose to upload any file. If we have to upload any file from our web application, so how we will automate that part? Selenium cannot automate web-based desktop application. So how you will automate that part? So that is why we have learned some of the commands of AutoIT that is useful to upload any file from your local system to the web application, and then you can send it to any person.
So this is a plug, what it is exactly? This is a plugin or what we will call this? Auto
This is
IT
an
will be,
application. You can say it is a tool.
it is a tool. Okay.
Yes. Okay, it is done. It takes some time, but it is done. So entire thing has been automated. Manually, we are not clicking on that file. That clicking on file is happening with the help of this command. AutoIT is a tool. Just now we have seen we can download it. It is not like Selenium. Two things we have to download. One is the script where you will write your script, and one is the element finder. These two things is required.
In your real time, so where and all you come across this auto IT?
Mm, let's suppose in a project there is a requirement to automate desktop application. So there we can use AutoIT. We have UFT also, we have Tosca also. Similarly, we have AutoIT also, Sikuli also. So any option we can use. AutoIT is free also. It is not a license based. This is an advantage. And in our scenario, like if your application has any like any web application where there is a functionality for uploading any file, so that uploading part you cannot do with the help of Selenium. So there you can use AutoIT. And why to use AutoIT? Because it is freeware. You cannot automate desktop application with Selenium. So you need something that can upload a file. So best way to go with the free version, the free software which is freely available. So that is why we use AutoIT. But it is used only when if your application in, let's suppose in your project there is an application where this is required. Means you click, you can you want to do any attachment and you want to send it to someone, or you want to do an attachment to process the file if there is a requirement of such, then only we use AutoIT. Otherwise, there is no need to use. It depends.
Downloading a file also we can do, no? Downloading a file and verifying whether file has downloaded successfully or not.
Downloading, you can simply click on the file and it will be downloaded. So for that, you don't need AutoIT. Like if there is a link of the file on the application, so with Selenium only you can click on the file and it will be downloaded. Yes, after downloading, if you want to verify whether the file is downloaded or not, then you have to use AutoIT.
Okay.
So whenever desktop application is opening or the pop-up is opening, that you cannot automate with the help of Selenium. For that, you have to use any tool which can automate the desktop application. So one of them is AutoIT. And it is very simple to configure and simple to use. That is why I have explained this one. And also, most important thing, you don't need to pay anything. It is freely available. So that's all for today's class. With that, we have completed Selenium topics. So second part of our course is completed. Now from next week, we will start the framework part. TestNG, Selenium Grid, and Maven, Jenkins, Git, extent report. All these are left, which we will cover in the framework part. Okay. So that's all for today's